forget retro gaming goodness.
No PC should be without it.
Undelete.
Welcome to DOS Days, a nostalgic look back at PC gaming from the mid-80s to mid-90s. This is a companion piece series to Player One Memories, which covers the arcade scene during this same period. For this series, I'll be jumping back and looking at all those great DOS era and early CD-ROM titles that I played and loved so much, as well as the times and places I experienced them. So let's jump on back to 1995 was the year that our ears got assaulted by the Spanish duo Los Del Rio and their mind-numbingly bad dance song, the Macarena. If you dance to this, then shame on you. James Bond made his long-awaited return after many years of legal rights-related hell, with GoldenEye, a movie more famous for being a game than an actual movie. And on the games front, I rented from a video shop what I thought was going to be a real banger of a fighting game on my Mega Drive, Rise of the Robots. However, this turned out to be one of the worst games I've ever played in my life, so much so that I returned it to the video shop an hour later and they refunded me, and I picked up Mortal Kombat 3 instead. The cosmic balance was returned to normal. And now on to today's game, which is Star Wars Dark Forces was released by Lucasarts in 1995 for DOS. It was a Star Wars game that was building on one of the most successful genres the DOS-era game generation ever created, the first-person shooter. After the massive success of Wolfenstein and obviously Doom, LucasArts decided to get on some of that action. They had previously brought out the excellent CD-ROM title Rebel Assault, which really, along with the brilliant X-Wing series, put Star Wars back on the map for content-hungry fans all over the world. But it wasn't simply going to be run-of-the-mill, as they'd add and tweak many things that are still seen in first-person shooters to this day. But let's first look at the story, which involves a new character called Kyle Katarn, a mercenary that works for the Rebels, as he ends up uncovering the Empire's Dark Trooper project, which is their new battle droid and armored stormtrooper divisions that are in production.
I've got a bad feeling about this.
The missions are fast-paced and an absolute blast to play, with you having access to a variety of weapons from blasters to thermal detonators, and lots of new weapons to the Star Wars universe. After a mission briefing which explains the location and specific objectives, you land your ship and begin your mission. There's a pretty expansive set of levels, everything from the decks of Star Destroyers, sewers, Jabba's yacht, and tons more, each having their own style and puzzles to solve. You also have a set of items that can be found to aid you, like night vision goggles, a mask to protect you from toxic chemicals, and so much more. These all need batteries though to power them and can be found with ammo, shields, medkits, and all the usual items you find in this style of game. Forces, however, did bring some unique elements to the genre at the time, such as being able to look up and down at the environment, which is necessary for the other inclusion, which is being able to jump, which leads to certain platforming sequences which are thankfully not too long, as they are definitely not the best elements of the game. Shooting is exactly like Doom, as it automatically targets characters on a higher plane, so you don't have to look up and down to shoot them. This may seem a bit weird to younger people that grew up with first-person shooters in the 2000s, but this was just a natural way of playing the style of game, and I'm totally okay with it. The graphics are pretty good for the time, with a fast, solid frame rate and nice variety in the levels. The music is also quite good, especially for a MIDI, but the new Star Wars tunes fit in well with the John Williams style. Sound effects are obviously excellent and ripped straight from the movie, and really bring the whole experience together perfectly. The game was followed by 3 sequels which continue the story of Kyle Katarn, but the games themselves, although good, are very different in style, with lightsaber and hack and slash third-person mechanics thrown into the mix. The game was a big hit for LucasArts, selling just over 1 million units by 1999, which is extremely impressive if you consider the insane amount of piracy on PCs in the 90s. Overall, I think the game does a really good job of not only being a fun FPS blast, but also satisfying that Star Wars itch that people were craving back then. Little did anyone know of the avalanche of horrible Star Wars movies that were just around the corner.
Master Skywalker, there are too many of them. What are we going to do?
To bash us over the heads with. But I digress. Check out Dark Forces, it's available on GOG for pretty cheap.
Game over.
And thanks for joining me, Bastish B at 64K. If you can like and subscribe, that would be greatly appreciated, and I'll see you next time. Cheers.